Have you ever looked at something you see every single day and then all of a sudden realized there's this entire hidden world just sitting there right under your nose? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're peeling back the layers on a few things you think you know, and it all starts with a pretty strange question. I know, right? It sounds like the beginning of a really bad joke. A bird, a massive cosmic event, and a piece of green tech. I mean, on the surface, they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. But that's the key phrase, on the surface. The real thread that ties them all together is what happens when we stop and take a second, closer look. When we bring in the tools of science and curiosity, each one of these things reveals a story, a hidden complexity that completely shatters our first impression. So let's start with something we've all seen, a bird. For forever, calling someone a bird brain has been an insult, right? It means they're simple, not too bright. But what if that whole idea is based on a huge misunderstanding of what's actually going on inside that little head? For the longest time, the standard view was that birds were just instinct-driven little robots. But that view is being completely overturned. New research is painting this radical new picture, providing some seriously compelling evidence that birds might actually have consciousness, a subjective, self-aware experience of their own world. So how are scientists making this case? Well, researchers like Gianmarco Maldarelli and Onur Günterkun say it all rests on three main pillars. First, how birds actually experience the world around them. Second, the physical wiring of their brains. And third, their sense of self. Okay, get this. For that first pillar, sensory consciousness, scientists ran a test on crows. They found that specific neurons in the crow's brain didn't just fire when a stimulus was present. No, they fired based on the crow's internal, subjective experience of it. In other words, the brain activity showed what the crow was actually perceiving, not just what it was seeing. That's a massive deal. And you might be asking, how is that even possible in a bird brain? Well, it turns out they have their own version of our prefrontal cortex. You know, the part of our brain that does all the heavy lifting and high-level thinking. It's called the, and get ready for this, Nidopallium caudolaterale. Yeah, let's just call it the NCL. It's this incredibly connected hub that allows for the kind of complex processing we used to think only mammals could do. And it's not just about raw processing power. It's about self-perception. As Dr. Günterkun points out, even pigeons and chickens, birds we definitely don't think of as geniuses, show signs of basic self-consciousness. They know the difference between their own reflection and another bird. Think about that. They understand their own place in a situation. Okay, now let's zoom out, way out. We're going from the inner world of a bird's mind to the deepest reaches of space. This right here is the Butterfly Nebula. And at first glance, thousands of light years away, it's just this incredibly beautiful, colorful cloud. A stunning piece of cosmic art. Now, its official name is a planetary nebula, which is honestly a terrible name. It has absolutely nothing to do with planets. What it really is the spectacular death of a star. It's this huge, expanding shell of gas that used to be the star's outer layers. At the very heart of all that beauty is what's left of the star, a tiny, super dense core called a white dwarf. And the temperature of that core is almost impossible to wrap your head around. 250,000 degrees Celsius. It's that insane heat that's lighting up all the gas around it, making the whole thing glow. So how does a star create something like this? Well, it's basically the star's grand finale. It starts when a star, kind of like our sun, begins to run out of fuel. It swells up into a massive red giant. Then it gently puffs its outer layers of gas out into space. The hot, dense core is all that's left, and its intense radiation sets that gas cloud ablaze with color. So why does this matter to us here on Earth? Because what we're looking at isn't just some random, distant event. It's a preview. It's a crystal ball showing us the future of our very own sun. In about 5 billion years, this is what our solar system is going to look like. All right, from our sun's distant future, let's come all the way back to Earth and look at how we're using its energy right now. When you picture a huge solar farm, what do you see? Probably just rows and rows of sterile panels on top of dirt or gravel, right? Kind of dead. But what if it's actually a buzzing, thriving ecosystem? This is the incredible idea behind a field called ecovoltaics. It's a simple but brilliant concept. You plant native, ecologically friendly vegetation, like a prairie, under and around the solar panels. You turn what was a single-use piece of land into something so much more. Now, you might have heard of agrivoltaics, where farmers grow crops or graze animals under panels. Ecovoltaics is kind of like its cousin, but instead of focusing on producing food, the main goal here is to restore the ecosystem itself, to build healthy soil, create a home for bees and butterflies, and provide all those amazing environmental benefits. And guess what? It totally works. A big multi-year study in Minnesota found some amazing results. Not only did the native prairies grow back successfully under the panels, but the number and variety of pollinators shot up, matching what you'd see on land set aside purely for conservation. On top of that, the soil got healthier and was protected from erosion. And you can see it right here in the data. This chart makes it plain as day. As the years went by and the prairie plants got more established, the pollinator visits just took off. That solar farm literally became a pollinator sanctuary. It came alive. But here is the most important lesson from all this: patience. This transformation was not an overnight thing. The research showed it took a solid 3 to 4 years for that prairie to really hit its stride. It's a powerful reminder that when we're trying to heal an ecosystem, we have to be in it for the long haul. So, we've gone inside a bird's mind, we've witnessed a star's death, and we've walked through a solar farm's hidden ecosystem. 3 totally different worlds, all revealed simply by looking past that first, simple impression. It all comes down to the power of taking that second look, doesn't it? The bird goes from a bird brain to a complex, conscious mind. The star goes from a distant point of light to a preview of our own cosmic destiny. And the solar farm goes from a sterile industrial site to a vibrant, living habitat. Each of these stories proves the same exact thing. Our first impression, what we see on the surface, is almost never the whole story. It's just the cover of the book, and the deeper, richer, and way more fascinating story is always waiting right inside. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. If these incredible hidden worlds can exist in something as common as a crow or a field of solar panels, what else is out there, hiding in plain sight? What are we looking at every single day without ever truly seeing the universe of complexity it holds?